Hello and welcome, Exiles. If you're like me, you've gotten to the point in the league where you're starting to wonder, man, these gold prices are getting pretty high. I want to keep getting free loot while I do stuff, and I want these guys to work efficiently, so I want to do the upgrades. But the upgrades start getting pretty pricey. 80k gold for the final upgrade for farming, and this is pretty representative of the other prices to upgrade all the other pieces. Not only that, but hiring the expert level people that do better work and are more efficient, they cost more gold per hour to pay them to do their jobs, as well as they cost more gold just initially to hire. So if you want to farm the end game, you want to start getting shipments that are really, really high value, turns out we're going to need a lot of gold. And how can you efficiently do that? Well, I've come away with a couple of conclusions based on things I've tried and things I've tested. And to begin with, I want to start with saying, when you're talking about gold, some things generate gold and some things don't. And the number one rule I think so far is quant matters. That's something I could tell while mapping. Quant matters. And certain things just don't drop gold. Sanctum didn't drop gold when I did Sanctum. When I tested Breach, Breach didn't drop gold. I think a lot of the league mechanics that have monsters that spawn in later or after the fact, like Ambush, like Strong Boxes, I don't think those drop gold. And so I've come away with the conclusion, natural spawned monsters similar to Necropolis can drop gold, and then pushing the quantity to the limit seems to be what ends up getting you the most gold per map without having to really think about it. So what I've come away with is a strategy like this, where I push a lot of quant on the map. I go a lot of mod tier effect. I'm doing Delirium. I think Delirium has an innate quant multiplier, and I think it's helping my gold per hour. So this is the setup I have, which is basically just a Alkin Go, where I put in Delirium, and then I add in a couple of fragments here, like so, because these give a quantity bonus to the map. So first off, I'm going to showcase a rare city square, and I have been testing city squares, or not just city squares, but just random rare maps, Alkin Go, with this strategy, and I've been getting about 10k gold to 20k gold in my maps. Closer to 10k usually, but I have had a couple 20k hits. And I'm also doing some blue altar, which I should go and get some more pack size points. I haven't fully finished my atlas, and that would allow me to spawn more quant altars to push gold up as I go through the map. So we're going to go ahead and give a little showcase of what it looks like to do just a rare map, and then I'm going to give you another counter example of something else that drops a pretty good amount of gold. Say you don't necessarily like the rare maps, there is a counter option, which is actually to do, believe it or not, synth maps, specifically the rewritten distant memory. I have found to be one of the better ones. I think altered or twisted also does decently. I wouldn't recommend augment. Its layout is just kind of not fun, and cortex is good as well. I'm going to click this even though it has minus PDR. Probably going to get me killed, but it's for the quant, so we're going to go for it. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Whenever I see quant, I'm going to go for it. Also, if you min-max your gold mine or your mining upgrades, which I would recommend doing. All right, I forgot to mention, but before we started, we were about at 43k. I checked before I started the video, but I don't know if I showed you guys beforehand. But I was at 43k gold before I started this map, just to give you context of how much we're getting in the map. Well, I would recommend the first thing maxing out is the mining camp, because what it does is every time you do one of these things in your map, you match the amount of resource you get with gold. So that was another 1,000 gold boost right there, and it's one of the cheaper stations to max out. So it'll allow you to upgrade your other stations faster if you prioritizing maxing that one out first before a lot of the other ones. Just in terms of where you're going to spend your initial gold is what I'd recommend. Just because it adds an extra 1k to 2k per map, depending on if you get multiple league mechanic spawns or not, because usually you get about 1,000 gold from those things, depending on what resource they give. Veracerium, they give a little bit less for the special resource. You don't get as much from those, but you get the point. Still is quite profitable, and I would recommend it. So let's go over here, clear these guys out. Now, you don't have to do Delirium, and there's the minus PDR kicking in really nice. You don't have to do the Delirium, as it makes the maps quite a bit harder, and quite frankly, it's probably slowing me down more than the benefit of the quant it's giving me. So that's up to you. I'm probably going to eventually take it out, to be honest, because I don't particularly like Delirium. And also, I want you to notice that I did favorite specifically City Square as a map I wanted to see more of, and the reason I did that is because City Square has 3 bosses instead of like 1 or 2, and each one of them can drop additional gold, which is more loot for me in terms of gold. I'm not 100% sure ritual monsters give gold. I think they do, so I have them, but I'm still kind of testing to figure out. Basically, it's just a matter of like paying attention to what is actually dropping gold. And you'll notice here when we killed these 3 bosses, each of them gives a good stack of gold. You can see from all those, we got quite a bit of gold. Moment of adrenaline, don't mind if I do. Medium cluster, okay. Now that is pretty much full clear, not entirely. I probably missed a pack or two somewhere, but I'm not gonna go look for it. We started out with 43k gold, and we ended with 54,000 gold. So that was 11k gold, and that was about a 3-minute map. So this strategy can net you anywhere from, at the bottom end, if you're doing a map in 3 minutes, 10k gold times 20, about 600k gold an hour if you're just going and grinding some maps. I think it could be a little bit more because I think 10k is kind of on the bottom end of gold you get. I have had maps with 15 to 20k, but that probably depends on how hard the map was and what extra miles were there. Now, I don't know if these fragments work with synth maps, but we'll test them out anyways, just to see if they do, because they will add quant if they work. They do work, cool. Now let's show a synth map. We have 54k gold. Let's showcase how long this takes, and we're going to full clear the map because for whatever reason, the monsters in this map are just, I guess, more likely to drop gold than a lot of the other monsters in other areas. These maps cost about 10C on trade. That's how much I was paying for them. So you're not going to be able to sustain them like you can rare maps. Ultimately, I'd recommend the rare maps as just a better option because you don't have to go and trade for them. You don't have to think too much, and they give you the resources like the general ores, which you're going to want to trade. But I want to showcase synth as well because it's one of the things I tried that worked decently for gold. And these maps were, for the most part, pretty chill to run. These maps are easier than the Delirium extra quant, extra tier rating maps I have set up that I was showcasing just now. But they do require you to go and trade, right? And that's not necessarily ideal. So I'm just showcasing both just to give you guys some context. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of the rare maps just so I can continue to generate those resources. I want to fully min-max the town and test out a lot of the different mechanics before I make a video on what I think is good and what strategies to employ with the league mechanic. So do expect that is something I plan to do at some point. I will say, even though these maps cost 10C, you will generally get back that amount of money. 1 in every 5 maps or so drops a Cortex. That just seems like a natural drop from synth maps as far as I can tell. Those are worth about 30C right now, so they pay for themselves a bit. And then you also have, down on the degen ground. You also have, what's it called? Synth maps can sometimes get these, yeah, see, there's the Cortex. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you get a ring that's okay, but generally not. The rings are usually worthless. But I was also going to say, synth maps can sometimes have the chance to make monsters drop like quality currency and stuff. So you could have a map where you get like 20 baubles and 20 gem cutters, and then that's like a nice little boost of currency. But for the most part, the 10C it's kind of break-even-ish. I wouldn't say it's like particularly profitable to run these maps over anything else. So if you can set up a full atlas, I think doing like a bunch of city squares, a bunch of Alkengo red maps is probably going to end up being just better in terms of not having to trade for it, consistency, and on top of that, whenever you encounter the ore deposits, you actually get to encounter the ore deposits because the synth map cannot generate those. As far as I can tell, I've run I think 20 of these or so, and they just don't spawn, and that's just what it is. So I must have missed an area. I'm gonna go up there real quick just so we full clear it for the example. And there's 10 monsters remaining. Now let's show the gold amount. That was from that fight, we went from 55k to 68, so that was about 13k. Similar to the rare map we just did. Hopefully that gives you an idea. If you want to generate a lot of gold so you can start to feel like you're not broke all the time and upgrade your town as quickly as possible, I think this is the way to do it. I think it's pushing mod tier effect, alking, chiseling, and adding in as much quant as you can via things like Delirium and just natural monster spawns like Shrine. I think this is the ideal way to do it. On top of Eater altars are great for quant. Hopefully you enjoy this little mapping strategy to push gold, and maybe it'll help you guys finish upgrading your towns. I'll see you guys out there in the Kingsmarch. Take care and have a good one. Peace out, Exiles.